One should not be fooled by outward appearances. The modest female security consultant at Tranquil Waters Marina was the intended victim of a gang of haughty motorcyclists who dared to confront them. Their ignorance was their detriment. Jessica Harper was no ordinary security consultant. She served in the most exclusive combat forces in the world as a highly decorated Navy SEAL. They discover the hard way that they chose the wrong woman to frighten when their pestering turns violent. This, however, is more than simply a combat story. What happens when people band together to fight injustice and how even the hardest hearts may be softened are the themes explored. Observing how an unexpected bond forms between adversaries as a result of a woman's resistance against bullies reveals a criminal plot that endangers her tranquil marina. Witness the unanticipated repercussions of judging someone just by their looks in this riveting story of action, atonement, and justice. Imagine a group of conceited motorcyclists whose fatal error set in motion a chain reaction of remarkable events. Come on, we need a break. Give us the location from where you're watching. If you're interested in this type of stuff, make sure to subscribe because tomorrow we have a really special story in store for you. When the sun rises over Tranquil Waters Marina, it paints the sky with a palette of pink and amber. The sound of seabird song mixes with the soft sound of waves lapping on wooden docks. A mysterious mist drifts over the water's surface while weathered fishing boats bob silently in their berths, casting a spellbinding ambience. Standing at the end of the main dock, Jessica Samantha Harper's athletic figure is cast in silhouette by the morning sun. The morning light softens her keen features, which are highlighted by her dark hair that is pulled back in a practical braid. While her trained eyes sweep the marina's perimeter constantly, she watches as a group of fishermen prepare their boats for the day ahead. Traditions persist. The sound of stomping boots on wooden boards catches her ear. As I arrive, Jerry, a frequent fisherman, has a hot mug of coffee. Samantha, good morning. I figured you could use this. Very much, Jerry. In order to combat the chilly morning, Samantha takes the cup and holds it close to her heart. Leaving early this morning? The weather forecast isn't looking good, so we're racing against the approaching storm. Samantha gives a subtle nod, her eyes wandering to the farthest horizon where storm clouds are forming. Today, she is anxious about more than just the weather. After all these years of duty, she should have learned to trust the air, yet now there's a familiar unease. The marina gradually awakens as the sun rises higher in the sky. The dock fees and mooring inspection crew from the marina has arrived. Families start to show up, with some getting ready for weekend outings and others going out for early fishing trips. In her role as security consultant, Samantha has spent the last year honing her routine of making rounds to inspect various ports of entry and surveillance cameras. Stopping outside the marina office, she offers assistance to an elderly boat owner named Mrs. Chen with her supplies. The morning silence is shattered by the faraway sound of motorbikes as they converse. The boom intensifies, becoming increasingly deafening, until it engulfs the tranquil harbor. The early sun accentuates the glare of 5 motorbikes as they thunder into the marina's parking lot. With a sense of superiority, the riders disembark from their mounts, which are equipped with patches that identify them as the Black Fangs. Like a predator sizing up its prey, their leader, a towering figure with a receding beard and icy eyes, observes the marina. As Samantha stands by, she hears the stomp of the motorcyclists' boots on the docks. As a reflex, other patrons of the marina keep their distance, and some even hurriedly remove their children from the area. Anxietism grows in the atmosphere. What an entrance, Mrs. Chen says, drawing her purse closer to her body. As for you, Mrs. Chen, why don't you sail away? Here, I will maintain vigilance. The old lady quickly gets up and heads out of the road as the motorcyclists draw near. A few steps away from Samantha, their leader, Jack Iron Malone, as she will discover later, stands and assesses her with apparent disdain in his eyes. Jack remarks, "Nice little setup you got here," as his voice reverberates through the eerily silent dock. What a shame if anything were to disrupt the tranquility. Samantha maintains a calm but prepared posture as she fixes her attention on him. She has trained for years to be able to detect danger in the tiniest of clues. The group's strategic placement to obstruct her route, the youngest rider's habit of reaching for his jacket pocket. Everyone is welcome at the marina as long as they follow our guidelines. Her responses are uniform. One important regulation is that other guests must not be harassed. The entire gathering lets out a low-volume laugh. Jack approaches her, use his towering stature to cast a shadow over her. Rules? Do you honestly believe you can impose rules on me, darling? As bystanders at the marina witness the altercation, the tension in the air becomes palpable. Samantha stays motionless, her breathing regulated, her thoughts already forming a mental blueprint of possible outcomes. The stakes feel equally high here, surrounded by civilians, as they have in more perilous settings when she has faced worse odds. She says, "I know exactly what position I'm in," with the same composed authority that used to characterize her command of elite teams in war zones. Additionally, I am offering you the opportunity to politely enjoy the marina or depart. There's a change in Jack's expression, but he doesn't have time to react because the parking lot starts to shake. The riders of 2 additional motorcycles, both adorned with black Viper patches, show up. One of them, in his haste to get off, topples a stack of rental bikes that were kept next to the door. The suspense is briefly relieved by the sound of bikes crashing to the ground. Taking advantage of the diversion, Samantha leaves Jack and approaches the newcomers. Her mind jots down details as she moves. There are a total of 7 motorcycles, and it appears like they're all armed. Judging by their stealthy movements, they probably don't think anyone will stand up to them. Now that the morning light has burned off the last of the mist, the marina can be seen in all its crisp glory. The situation unfolds with families motionless, fishermen halting their work, marina personnel anxiously observing from a distance, and a former Navy SEAL gearing up to protect her peace in ways these bikers could never have imagined. They have no idea that this clash will trigger a chain reaction that will change the marina and everyone else involved in ways they could never have imagined. As if to mirror the mounting anxiety, dark clouds are forming on the horizon, signaling that this quiet morning is soon to give way to chaos. Samantha approaches the rental bikes that have fallen as the morning sun rises. Despite the black fangs lurking behind her, she starts riding them one by one, taking her time and being deliberate. With a mixture of amusement and scorn, the 2 newcomers observe her. As she examines a twisted handlebar, she says calmly, "Those bikes cost money. Any damage must be covered by you." One of the younger immigrants, a lanky man with a tattoo of a venom climbing up his neck, spits on the floor. "Nothing is ever going to cost us around here." The usuals at the marina have taken refuge on their boats or in the office, although they keep an eye on things from the decks and windows. Jerry is one of a few fishermen who stand by, obviously worried but not knowing what they can do to assist. With his boots stomping down the sidewalk, Jack makes his way over. "We're actually not paying for anything," as Venom pointed out. Metal clattering across pavement, he kicks over another bike. "Perhaps you ought to compensate us for our security services. Marinas are a common sight for accidents." Samantha remembers shaking downs like this from beach settlements abroad. Similar game, different participants. Her flowing movement is a result of years of fighting training, and she straightens gently. "Things don't operate that way around here." "No." In a manner reminiscent of a predatory shark, Jack slowly circles her. "And who will intervene to prevent us?" "You." Everyone on his staff laughs along with him. Preschooler posing as a security guard. As Samantha turns to face him directly, the air feels cooler by a few degrees. Although Marina is suddenly quiet, her voice echoes through the room. "Actually, I'm a former Navy SEAL." "Sure, I'll put a stop to it." Anger swiftly covers a fleeting look of uncertainty that crosses Jack's features. He looks around at his workers, who had adjusted their posture subconsciously in response to the abrupt shift in the air. A stocky-built man sporting a receding beard advances as one of the motorcyclists. Complete nonsense. Women are not allowed to serve as SEALs. Things evolve. Samantha gives a blunt answer. As they disperse around her, her gaze follows their delicate movements. What they do with their bodies says a lot. Trained operators are not their usual target, they specialize in intimidating people. Tom, the manager, comes out from the marina office clutching a phone. Declaring, his voice quivering but resolute, "I've contacted the authorities," he declares. Jack had a rough laugh. "The police? Where am I?" "They're going to be very slow to show up, old man. A lot can happen in the time leading up to that." Like the buildup of a storm, the tension is palpable. From her vantage point in the marina office, Samantha sees Venom's hand moving inside his jacket while two other motorcyclists shift to obscure the scene. Their perfectly coordinated actions validate her worst fears. This isn't a group of haphazard troublemakers. Jerry advances, his grizzled countenance fixed with resolve. "You guys should maybe think again about what you're doing here." "Hold on, Jerry." With an authoritative tone, Samantha issues an order. Jack, she continues, has one final opportunity to depart amicably. In reaction, Jack crashes into the remaining rental bikes, knocking them over. Like a starting gun, the boom reverberates across the marina. A blade gleams in the early light as Venom retrieves a knife from his jacket. "Look, we have an issue now." A low growl comes from Jack. "We will not tolerate this kind of disrespect from a would-be soldier." The boys show her the ropes when it comes to the real world. For those in the audience, what comes next plays out as if in slow motion. Venom expects an easy target and lunges forward with his knife. On the contrary, he tightly clasps Samantha's hand. His own knife is pressing against his neck as he falls face down on the pavement before anyone can blink. Without their usual air of self-assuredness, the other motorcyclists stand still. The fury on Jack's face grows darker. "Rescue her." More than two motorcyclists charge ahead. Once Samantha lets go of Venom, she effortlessly rolls to her feet. With deadly ease, her movements flow from one to another, and she is very efficient with her moves. Stepping inside his guard, the first motorcyclist unleashes a wild blow that hits nothing. With surgical accuracy, her elbow hits his solar plexus, causing him to fall to his knees. Samantha reacts quickly, even though the second assailant gets a hold of her from behind. To send him soaring over her hip, she just shifts her weight, harnessing his velocity in the process. He shatters a stack of life vests as he careens into them, sending them flying across the pier. Christ Jesus! In the midst of the expanding throng, a voice whispers. Something sinister has replaced Jack's arrogant sneer. The shiny metal of his brass knuckles glints as he retrieves them from his pocket. "Put an end to your games and deal with her." With their former haughtiness supplanted by cautious reverence, the surviving motorcyclists enter the scene in unison. In order to keep an eye on everyone, Samantha slightly backs up. Her posture is neutral, and her breathing is constant. The dock's cramped quarters and the presence of bystanders make what is essentially her first encounter with numerous adversaries much more challenging. After taking a break to tend to his wrist, Venom gets back to his friends. Like a pack of wolves, they circle her, waiting for anything to happen. The tranquility of the marina is disrupted as the early sun descends onto the scene. Samantha can make out Tom's anxious voice on the phone from behind her. There will be a riot unless police arrive now. A motorcyclist quickly prepares to attack, hurling a haymaker at the enemy. Samantha skillfully dodges beneath it, unleashing a deadly counterattack. However, they are currently overwhelming and coming at us from every direction. A grazing strike catches her shoulder, but she manages to block a punch and parry a kick. Jack stands on the brink of the battle, his twisted visage contorted into a savage grin. "Seal, you're not being too difficult right now, are you?" Samantha gets right to the point. For her, everything revolves around the next action, the next danger. She is fully immersed in her training. She is confident in her ability to deal with each man separately, but the combination of their might is overwhelming. Not far from her thoughts, a red flag goes up. They seem to be more than just a handful, given how well they're working together. She notices a sudden shift in motion. A group of fishermen, including Jerry, are drawing near, prepared to step in. This must be stopped immediately to prevent harm to innocent bystanders. The moment has come to show these motorcyclists who's boss. It took us a long time to prepare and tell this narrative. So, please subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying it. We really appreciate it. We will return to the story now. As Samantha changes her position, the morning air becomes tense. As she prepares to fulfill her task, the worn wood of the dock gives way under her feet, creating a creaking sound. With their boots pressed firmly on the planks, 7 irate bikers encircle her, their former arrogance supplanted by a cautious resolve. Still stinging from his earlier takedown, Venom charges at her first. His approach this time is more measured, and he works in tandem with 2 others to secure her against the railing of the pier. Their formation is immediately apparent to Samantha. She's seen this strategy play out in battle zones before. She reacts instantly, and it hurts. She catches his jacket to prevent him from falling as she sweeps his legs as Venom reaches out to her. He and his friend both take tumbles after he slams into them. While she ducks and weaves to avoid the third biker's attack, her counter-strike lands squarely on his throat, incapacitating him rather than hurting him. Oh no! While advancing, Jack snarls and cracks his brass knuckles. Retain her. While Samantha is in motion, the other motorcyclists approach. Every action is deliberate and every attack is premeditated, as if she were a seal. She takes use of their size and aggressiveness to her advantage, causing the group to become disorganized. A single motorcyclist leads the pack. She guides him toward another path. A blade gleams. With mechanized accuracy, she neutralizes and incapacitates the bearer. Jerry yells out from the throng, "Behind you!" Instinctively, Samantha ducks. Where her head once was, a chain whirls through the sky. She charges ahead, sneaks up on the assailant, and hits him so hard that he gasps for air as he falls to the ground. However, the relentless assaults are wearing people down. Where a fortunate blow had previously hit, her shoulder aches. Seeking an opportunity, Jack circles the fight's periphery. Quite easy, isn't it? Need a break? Are you always babbling? Samantha speaks back, her voice unwavering even though she's working hard. With the momentum from evading another attempt, she hurls one motorcyclist into a pile of boxes. The marina is shaken by the crash. An even greater throng has now gathered for the fight. From what they perceive as a secure distance, marina employees and boat owners observe. Some people are filming the scene with their phones. Tom's argument with emergency dispatch is audible over the mayhem. "Excuse me, but what do you mean by delayed? A riot has broken out here." Venom makes a full recovery and raises a new blade. "Damn it, you're dead." Samantha has no choice but to retreat along the dock as he slashes with all his might. Her foot briefly loses its equilibrium when it collides with a rope coil. Jack takes advantage of the situation. Striking for her skull, he rushes in with the brass knuckles. Metal still grazes Samantha's temple, but she manages to deflect most of the hit. Beyond her field of vision, stars burst into a dazzling display. "There you go." Pressing his advantage, Jack snarls. Nevertheless, Samantha has overcome even more difficult challenges. The agony makes her hyper-aware and gives her actions an icy clarity. She sneaks inside his guard just as Jack is getting ready to swing again. She squeezes his solar plexus with her elbow, causing him to exhale. In the blink of an eye, she seizes his arm and spins him around, sending him hurtling into the air thanks to his own momentum. Splinters fly as Jack smashes through the wooden fence. His metal knuckles quietly splash into the black depths as he catches himself just in time to plunge into the water. As a result of their leader's unfortunate situation, the remaining motorcycles stop attacking. Keeping them all in her peripheral view, Samantha uses this minute to catch her breath. She keeps her unwavering attitude as blood runs down her temple. She orders, "Stand down," with the commanding presence of someone accustomed to commanding attention in a hostile environment. Now this is over. Venom casts his gaze between his boss, who is dangling precariously, and the woman who hangs him. For the first time, he shows signs of uncertainty. As Jack, now a raging maniac with a ripped leather jacket, makes his way back onto the dock, another motorcyclist assists him. "Damn, you're dead." With a mouthful of blood, Jack spits out. "Can you hear what I'm saying? Dead." "Yeah, that's wrong." A new voice emerges, commanding and profound. As a towering, weathered guy makes his way down the dock, all eyes are on him. Despite his unassuming fishing attire, Ethan Griff Grayson exudes the unmistakable self-assurance of a law enforcement officer. An unassuming holster's outline is just apparent as his palm rests carelessly on his hip. Is it 7-on-1? While Samantha stands at her side, Griff moves forward. Those odds don't look quite right. Expertly, he scans the scene with his eyes. However, it appears that the woman has been managing rather well. In spite of his unkempt appearance, Jack straightens himself, attempting to reassert his dominance. "Old man, this is none of your concern." "Yes, that's correct." Griff's eyes remain unblinked by his smile. "It is none of your business what goes on at this marina." Former sheriff's deputy. "My badge and all of that are still with me." A tremor goes through the assembled multitude as a result of the disclosure. Even in their retired state, seeing police officers makes a number of people feel more at ease. As they reevaluate their position, the motorcyclists look at each other. During this time, Samantha observes the group more intently. They were well coordinated, had concealed weapons, and were tactically aware. Something more substantial than minor squatters is at the root of it all. Such guys have training and are well organized. Why is this being done? Finally, sirens sound out in the distance. Jack casts a shadow over his features as he surveys Samantha and Griff, weighing his alternatives. Spit on the dock, he does it at last. He snarls as if this were far from ended. He squawks at his crew. "Get on your horses." The motorcyclists start to back away as they tend to their wounded comrades. After retrieving his knife, Venom makes one final move toward Samantha. "Seal, be cautious." "I usually do," she says quietly, observing their flight. The marina begins to come alive again as the motorcyclists get on their bikes and blast out. Individuals start to come out of their hiding spots and boats. Despite Samantha's reassurances, Tom rushes over with a first aid box and tends to her head wound. Thoughtfully, Griff observes as the motorcycle vanishes around the bend. "They weren't your run-of-the-mill troublemakers." Tom dabs at Samantha's cut, and she grimaces in agreement. "Something completely different exists. And I intend to discover the specifics." As the light rises in the morning, it reflects off the strewn remnants of the battle. More turbulent weather is on the horizon, as storm clouds are gathering in the distance. This was merely the first stage. Ordered anarchy ensues in the aftermath of the battle. At last, the marina is illuminated by the alternating red and blue lights of the police cruisers. While paramedics treat the few bystanders struck by gunfire, mostly with minor injuries, officers collect accounts from eyewitnesses. While speaking with a young officer, Samantha sits on a seat outside the marina office, ice pack applied to her temple. Griff keeps an eye out for curious passers-by as he stands close by. "So, according to you, they appeared out of nowhere?" With a pen poised over his notepad, the officer poses the question. Samantha responds, her tactical mind already making sense of what happened earlier, saying that nothing happens out of the blue. By doing so, they hope to gauge the level of opposition they would encounter. The cop appears dubious. Coming from a consultant specializing in marina security? Griff interjects with an experienced voice, stating that it might be from anyone. This was no run-of-the-mill gang trying to cause problems. The way they move, the way they coordinate, how well they're taught. Lieutenant Matthews, a senior officer, approaches with his badge in hand. He seems to have seen it all, judging by the look of his aged face. Black fangs aren't known to bother people at random, as Mr. Grayson pointed out. Their targets are typically more carefully chosen. Samantha understands the hidden meaning. You're familiar with their work, right? A tense look crosses Matthew's face. Their expansion along the coast began approximately 6 months ago. Problems inevitably arise whenever they appear. He takes a moment to observe Samantha. Their first experience with a security professional handing them their behind is unprecedented. Regardless of the pounding in her brain, Samantha can't help but smile a little. For a former Navy SEAL, some behaviors never go. SEAL, Matthews says with an eyebrow raised. Some things are clarified by that. Exercise caution, though. Embarrassment is something the fangs dislike. Tom comes charging up with more ice and a worried look on his face as the cops go to finish their report. Perhaps we need to supplement our security team. For the time being, however. After Samantha shakes her head, she quickly comes to regret the action. Adding more people won't make things better. We must comprehend their purpose for being here. Griff suggests, in a low voice, that he may have some ideas about the matter once they're alone. There have been noises on the docks. Shipments arriving in after hours. A boat's description should match the boat itself. Doing drugs unlawfully. All sorts of ideas are racing through Samantha's head. The site of the marina. The realm's most recent enlargement. The coordinated motions of the motorcyclists. A bigger picture begins to take shape. Might be possible. But demonstrating it. Griff allows the phrase to dangle. The morning throng is much smaller now. Lots of boat owners have decided to put off their plans because of all the excitement. The surviving individuals anxiously look toward the parking lot. As if waiting for the bikers to come back any second now. With 3 mugs of coffee in hand, Jerry comes charging over. We're hoping you might find this useful. He then whispers softly as he distributes them. Give some thought to what Griff stated. Like you, I've noticed things. Observed some suspicious behavior at the far dock last week. A group of men unloading shipping containers in the wee hours of the morning. Has it been reported? Even though Samantha knows the answer, she still asks. Jerry wobbles with pain. To who? The police force in the area is already understaffed, and now. He looks across at the officers who are leaving. The Fangs allegedly have military allies, according to some. Something is quite off about the implication. In other regions of the globe, Samantha has witnessed something similar. Corrupt practices dispersing rapidly. Degrading buildings to their very foundations. She says at last that proof is needed. Anything substantial enough that it cannot be swept under the rug. A slow nod is given by Griff. Those days as a deputy still have an impact on me. Verified individuals. However, obtaining proof without giving them a hint. Samantha ends by saying it won't be easy. She gets to her feet and tries to juggle. Now that I'm no longer lightheaded, I feel that old sense of purpose returning. The training for SEALs was also not. Worriedly, Tom wringing his hands. For the time being, what are we to do? It won't do to sit around and hope they return. Samantha reassures him that we will not. We will secure the marina first. Put in place adequate monitoring. Prepare for potential emergencies. Show that this isn't a simple target. Let me lend you a hand. Griff proposes. This place can be made as tight as a drum with our combined military and law enforcement backgrounds. After that, Jerry inquires. As Samantha surveys the sea, she notices that the storm clouds are still gathering over the horizon, and her expression becomes more serious. The next step is to resist. But intelligent, not merely brutish. Not only are these men violent, but they are also well coordinated. So they have a line of command, a supply of goods, and weaknesses that we can exploit. Tom notes, his voice quivering, that you're implying tackling a whole criminal enterprise. Samantha tells him no. I am referring to the matter of safeguarding our community. A strong offensive can sometimes be the greatest defense. Griff is her new focus. Are you ready to go? With a gloomy but resolute smile, the former deputy walks the walk. I have been anticipating the moment when someone will speak out. I am interested. A fishing boat docks at the marina just as they start talking plans. The captain uses his voice, which carries across the ocean, to provide a warning about the impending storm. In anticipation of impending storms, other boat owners hastily fasten their yachts. Samantha keeps a sharp eye on the action, her mind already planning moves. Today, the Fangs dared to confront a harmless security consultant, believing they could scare him. On the contrary, they have awoken an even more terrifying creature. A battler who has discovered a cause worthy of his or her sacrifice. The sound of a rumbling thunder echoes across the lake as the first heavy rains fall. As Samantha and Griff go over the security footage of the marina, the storm outside rages on. Thunder echoes across the air as they speak while rain pelts the windows. Hours have passed as they search for patterns in weeks' worth of recordings made during the night. On the screen, Samantha indicates something fuzzy. Despite its stated length, that vessel is significantly shorter. She pulls up the ship's paperwork by tapping a few keys. This certainly exceeds 40 feet, even if it says 30 feet here. Griff narrows his eyes as he draws nearer to the time stamp. This is their third visit after midnight this month. Each time, it's the same port and the regular security guard is on break. The chamber is illuminated in pure white by lightning flashes. Even though the rest of the marina is experiencing power outages, their equipment is kept functioning by the steady hum of the temporary backup generator. Internal assistance is shown by the coordination. A small bruise from the altercation earlier in the day still lingers on Samantha's temple, and she rubs it while she reflects. Someone's checking the timing to make sure it's right. A sudden rap on the door has them both worked up. After removing the rain from his jacket, Jerry steps inside. Just wanted to let you know that the Fangs have returned. There are now only 2 of them at the Rusty Anchor bar down the street, but that could change. Griff and Samantha shake heads. Loose morals and lips characterize the Rusty Anchor. Ideal for intelligence collection. Now is the time to do some homework. Standing, Samantha makes a decision. Jerry, kindly maintain vigilance on the security feeds. Rain has transformed the pathways in the marina into narrow streams. If anything out of the ordinary occurs, please contact me. Carefully, Samantha and Griff navigate in the pitch black while the storm obscures their tracks. The neon sign of the rusting anchor gives out an eerie light even during the rainstorm. Griff offers, "I'll take point," as they draw near. Your visage is now too familiar to them. Samantha lifts her hood and gives a silent nod. As they each make their way inside, Samantha spots a dimly lit booth in the corner and Griff heads directly for the bar. The weather has kept most regulars away, so it's a half-full house. Venom and his friend are deep in conversation as they sit at a corner table. In appreciation, the veteran bartender Mac nods, and Griff takes a seat on a bar stool within earshot of the motorcyclists. He mastered the art of covert listening throughout his years spent working as a police officer. This time, the shipments are larger, and Venom's voice carries through the storm. According to the boss, the dock must be cleared by Thursday. An anxious-looking man dressed in fancy attire, who is his buddy, moves awkwardly. Security will be more stringent following the incident this morning. Perhaps we ought to reschedule. I can't wait, Venom says angrily as she seizes the man's collar. Dude, do you really believe that our customers will be okay with delays? Keep working. Verify that the security officer is busy and that the cameras are turned off. The guy straightens his jacket and steps back. Okay, but I'm sorry, but I've had enough. Fighting is not what I signed up for. No matter what we claim you signed up for, you did it. As Samantha closely observes the interaction, her grip on her glass becomes more firm. Underneath his jacket, the anxious man is donning a Marina staff uniform. This proves their worst fears as insiders. Something out of the blue happens behind the bar, a static blast. A news item regarding recent weapons seizures along the coast is revealed when Mac adjusts the TV. While keeping a close eye on things, Venom and his friend go silent. A complex smuggling operation is being suspected by the authorities, the reporter announces. The transit of military-grade weaponry through smaller ports and marinas has reportedly been reported. The anxious man suddenly gets to his feet. Please, someone give me a breather. Samantha is hidden in the darkness, so he rushes past her table without seeing her. Venom observes his departure with an apex predator grin. Griff takes a leisurely stroll over to the jukebox, where he watches Venom on the other side as he answers the phone. The storm and music drown out the biker's voice, but his face says it all. The door to the bar swings open once more a few minutes after that. With water trickling down his leather jacket, Jack confidently walks in. The few regulars start to feel uneasy and start looking for excuses to quit. Prepare a report. Joined by Venom, Jack makes a demand. Venom responds by saying that Hamilton is becoming nervous. Possible issue. Give it a go. Jack has a frigid voice. We cannot afford to have even a single weak connection derail all of our hard work. Things must run smoothly with Thursday's shipment. The purchasers are dispatching an agent to personally supervise the operation. Where does the sealed woman stand? Jack loses his composure. She has begun to inquire. Getting in the way. Get it done. This coming evening. Samantha notices a change in the vibe as 3 additional motorcyclists step inside the bar. They try too hard to appear unconcerned as they stand near the exits. Her phone starts to ring. Written by Jerry. Just now, 4 other fangs landed outside. They are encircled. As Samantha meets Griff's gaze in the jukebox reflection, thunder rumbles overhead. Now that they have their goal, they must escape. It seems the fangs are hell-bent on making sure that doesn't happen. Samantha knows that bartender Mac keeps a shotgun behind the counter, so she cautiously reaches under there. As the rain keeps pounding on the windows, the tension in the room becomes even higher. They will not be able to escape by fighting this time. They should use more intelligence and strategy. The stakes have never been higher, and now they know them. Also, the lengths to which fangs will go in order to safeguard their business. The lightning strikes once more. During that split second of brilliance, Samantha noticed that Jack was staring at her corner booth. His expression contorted into a vicious grin. Someone has set the trap. They simply need to make it through. The wind and rain are making the rusted anchor creak. Gradually, Jack gets up from his seat, maintaining eye contact with Samantha's corner. As the trap is completed by 2 more motorcycles sneaking in through the back entrance, his smile becomes even bigger. Oh, great. In spite of the tempest, Jack's voice resounds. It seems like someone has been peeking where it doesn't belong. Samantha stays in her chair. Regardless of the risk, she relaxed her posture. Scenarios are running through her head as she figures out possible ways out. In all, 8 motorcyclists were stationed to guard every possible exit. Depending on how you look at it, Mac's shotgun under the bar could end up being a game changer. Your company model is rather intriguing. Equally, she responds. Smuggling weapons through tiny harbors should yield a profit. Jack quickly reprimands Venom as his hand approaches his jacket. Do you have any idea what the issue is? Well, it seems like you just can't let things alone. I could have done your work just as well. Do what everyone else does and turn a blind eye. I was never good at turning a blind eye. Griff begins to draw nearer to the bar. His movements are nuanced yet deliberate. Songs are selected by the jukebox. As the bloodshed erupts, Bruce Springsteen's Thunder Road plays, which seems very fitting. By extending his arms, Jack provides a final opportunity. Exit the room. Set that information aside. Unless things turn out extremely bad. As the lightning crackles, it lights up the windows streaked with rain. During that split second of brilliance, Samantha sees something through the window. Activity in the garage. Here come more motorcyclists. Some other stuff. On one point, you are correct. Buying time, she says. A squabble is brewing. Jack gets furrowed brow. Pick them up. Anarchy ensues at the tavern. Samantha dodges the two bikers who are rushing after her. Her hefty oak table was turned upside down to act as a barrier. The spot where her skull formerly stood becomes indented with a knife's point. As soon as he sees an attacker, Griff dives into action, displaying his extensive training as a law enforcement officer. As Mac pumps his shotgun chamber, a number of motorcyclists scramble for safety. Stay out of it. Jack yells out. Quiet is necessary for us. Samantha seizes the opportunity to attack while they are distracted. With a seamless motion, her boot connects with Venom's jaw as she vaults over the table that has been turned upside down. A second motorcyclist swung a pool cue over her head. She seizes it, counteracts his forward motion, and causes him to collide with his teammates. When a bottle is tossed, the glass breaks. Griff evades two assailants before launching a bar stool retaliation, killing both of them. Motorcyclists face difficulties due to the cramped area. They obstruct each other, turning their numerical advantage into a disadvantage. Venom cries from the back door as he notices Samantha's cunning move toward the kitchen door. Three motorcyclists try to pass her, but she unexpectedly charges at them. Floating between their legs, she slips and slides on the damp floor. She heads straight for the door before they can even turn around. Only the emergency lights illuminate the kitchen as lightning crackles through a tall window. Boots pounding on the tile floor indicate that Samantha is being pursued from behind. A swear word and the sound of someone falling follow her careless grasp of a pot from a rack, which she then hurls backwards. Griff is still going strong in the main room. A biker is knocked down like a stone when his fist hits his temple. Everyone else stays away from Max because of his shotgun. The alley is her destination. From the kitchen, Jack's voice echoes. Get rid of her right in front. However, Samantha will not be making use of either of the exits. Based on her security evaluation of the neighborhood, she recalls the building's layout. The neighboring storage compartment can be accessed by a maintenance access panel located in the walk-in fridge. As she closes the door to the freezer, two motorcyclists storm into the kitchen. She feels the sudden dip in temperature and can see her breath in the low light. As boots draw near, she keeps track of the seconds. A yank on the door opens it to see that the freezer is vacant. What on earth? The serpent looks within. She disappeared. Samantha, who had been hidden above the shelves, suddenly lands, interrupting his query. The two men fall forcefully to the cold floor. She locks herself out of the room and leaves before they have a chance to regroup. There is a lot of old furniture and cartons in the storage area. Samantha walks stealthily but rapidly, and she hears the bikers panic as they realize they've been outwitted. A high-up window provides an escape route, but it also poses a danger. While climbing, she would be vulnerable. The outside door flings open at the last second. With his brass knuckles glistening, the Jack stands silhouetted by lightning. Getting away? Seems like you're not very loyal. Cast your ballots. Someone speaking from behind him says that. The entryway is filled with Griff's enormous figure before Jack can turn around. He forces Jack into the room after his fist hits his kidney. Samantha and her new ally launch into a flanking maneuver right away. Jack shows signs of experience as he recovers swiftly. He parries Griff's incoming blow and then unleashes a devastating strike with his brass knuckles in response. One problem is that he can't keep an eye on both of his opponents at once. He falls to the ground after Samantha hits him in the knee. Griff then executes a right cross, knocking Jack out cold. Perfect timing, Samantha exclaims, her breath labored. Needed certain assistance? Griff looks pleased. She can make out the police lights reflected in the rain through the open door. Standing in the parking lot, Lieutenant Matthews orders the officers to secure the area. At their arrival, Matthews clarifies that they received an anonymous information regarding a disturbance. I figured you two could be around. This place. Cop cars are cradling the rest of the motorcyclists who have resisted arrest. Although they are no longer required, Max stands at the doorway of his tavern with the shotguns at the ready. According to Samantha, we have more than simply arrests, as she informs Matthews. We learned the identity of their marina insider and obtained evidence of their smuggling operation. The storm starts to drift out to sea as thunder booms overhead. This, though, is only the beginning, as Samantha is well aware. The battle is far from finished, but they have won this particular battle. The fangs will now be out for blood, and the weapons shipment is still scheduled for Thursday. As the sun rises over the marina, the remnants of the storm become visible in the form of puddles and scattered debris. Samantha observes the port patrol from her vantage point at the end of the main dock. Despite the soreness in her muscles from the battle the night before, she is mentally prepared to face whatever obstacles lie ahead. Griff is on his way, as soon as you hear footsteps on damp wood. With one of his piping hot mugs in his hand, he offers Samantha the other. He says that Matthews has just processed the last of them. Bail will be made by most by midday. Is Jack one of them? In particular, Jack. Prior to the completion of his booking, his lawyer had already arrived. As Samantha had anticipated, she gives a subtle nod. The quickness of the legal team's response provides more evidence that the organization's resources are under scrutiny. What about Hamilton? He has been employed here for 8 months, according to Griff, who cited Marina's HR records. It all started when the suspicious shipments first appeared. However, he has vanished. No one home, no one answering the phone. The morning air is thick with the weight of the implications. Hamilton is fleeing not only the fangs but also whatever Thursday brings. From the marina office, Tom approaches with a worried expression on his face. The board has just communicated with me. Citing safety concerns, they are contemplating temporarily closing the marina. It's precisely what they desire, Samantha says with a firm tone of voice. Block off the marina, remove any potential witnesses, and provide them complete freedom to carry out their job. With Jerry at the helm, a little fishing boat plods past. He didn't go fishing, he's been out since before sunrise. He has been charting suspicious water movement in an effort to piece together the smuggler's travels, per Samantha's request. He signals for them to come to the dock because he has something. A look of excitement and curiosity lights up his grizzled face as he ties up. Uncovering an abandoned dock for maintenance, approximately 2 miles to the south. In the shadow of the long-gone cannery, you can see new tire tracks that go straight to the shore. Griff and Samantha shake heads. Griff mentions a backup site. According to Samantha, if the marina becomes too hot, they will find another location. However, with such little notice, they cannot relocate the entire enterprise. This location must receive Thursday's shipment. Trembling, Tom clenches his fists. Can we not just let it happen? Arrange a realistic sting operation and involve the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Griff firmly disapproves, shaking his head. Red tape is a major bottleneck. If they wait to form a task force, the weapons will already be in circulation. A message from Matthews pings Samantha's phone. Buyers beware, foreign armaments merchants and heavy hitters, we have recognized you. The level of risk is increasing. These aren't your average lawbreakers. They're interdependent on one another. Some noise in the vicinity of the parking lot catches their eye. A man in a pricey suit is attempting to photograph Mrs. Chen's yacht as she is in the middle of an argument with him. Tom, the insurance adjuster, explains in a low voice. Spent the entire morning exploring the marina. He gives off an unsettling vibe, though. Samantha watches the man carefully. Overly strategic and exacting. He isn't a safety net. The man is a scout. They are currently creating a strategy for Thursday by mapping our security. Jerry is adamant that we must take action. Can't sit back and let them strike again. Samantha reassures him that we will not. After gathering the others, she proceeds to the security office and sets up an ad hoc command center there. Known Viper members' profiles are shown on one wall alongside maps and surveillance photographs. Based on our current understanding, here is what is known. As she enters mission briefing mode, she starts. 3 items are required for the operation on Thursday. Easy dock access, unobstructed weapon passage, and few eyewitnesses. Griff points out that they have lost their go-getter. That makes it harder for them to get in. Samantha concurs that this calls for a more forceful approach. However, our opportunity lies there. Covert operations involving corruption and intimidation are second nature to them. Bring them out into the open. Jerry, finally understanding, adds that they will inevitably mess up. Tom glances between them, a sudden epiphany setting in. The goal is to get them to reveal their hand. Even better, Samantha's eyes sparkle with strategy. They will believe they have already triumphed because of us. Next, she proceeds to the marina plans, highlighting important areas. We start by leaking the news that the board has decided to close the marina. They gain self-assurance from that. We will then begin to evacuate boats. However, not all depart. We carefully choose important roles and strategically assign our employees. A trap, Griff remarks with awe. But after yesterday night, they will be expecting, and banking on, something. With force and readiness, they will advance. Our improved readiness is something they won't anticipate. Jerry absent-mindedly rubs his chin. Any other fisherman I know would be willing to provide a hand. Nice folks, sick of being treated badly. Griff finishes by saying he could also use his connections from his time as a deputy. Reliable individuals. Samantha gives a knowing nod. Our every advantage will be required. These people are no longer considered thugs. They're in a state of desperation despite having ample resources and expert training. They pose a threat because of that. While feigning a smile, Tom inquires if it is more hazardous than a naval SEAL. We will soon discover the answer. Looking closely at Jack's face, Samantha returns her attention to the images. Fear, they reasoned, would allow them to seize control of this marina. It is time to demonstrate to them the true nature of dread. As the light rises in the morning, it reveals the storm clouds that hung over last night. But there's a consensus among those present, a much larger storm is on the way. Plus, they'll be prepared this time. In the following 24 hours, the marina at Tranquil Waters will become a meticulously staged illusion. It seems to be turning off at first glance. Security cameras are noticeably turned off, boats are being packed, and equipment is being prepared to leave. However, under this retreat, a backlash is taking form. Standing in the observation tower of the marina, Samantha scans the waterfront using her high-powered binoculars. Faraway windows reflect the afternoon sun, and she occasionally sees the shutter clicks of cameras. As they get ready, Viper surveillance teams keep an eye on them. "Allow them to examine," she murmurs. "Make them believe they have a firm grasp on the situation." Carrying a tablet showing surveillance feeds, Griff ascends the tower stairs. The boats that were evacuated are now in position. He writes the report. All 7 of Jerry's concealed fishermen are former service members. 2 of the dock workers were persuaded to remain and provide a hand by Tom. And what about our unique tweak? Complete. Griff cracks a grimace to himself. Just an hour ago, the underwater welding crew completed their task. No one will ever guess it. Something moves at the entrance to the marina, and Samantha notices it. Passing what appears to be a black SUV with veiled windows is far too sluggish to be considered regular traffic. She narrows her focus to the driver. As seen through the windshield, it's Venom, with his neck tattoo. She notes that they are planning to rely on their legal buddies to avoid jail time and are becoming more daring with their recon. Griff offers her a manila envelope while they are on the subject of influential friends. In terms of background checks, Matthews delivered. You should view this. There are pictures and paperwork within that explain the Viper structure. A familiar face, though, is what really grabs Samantha's attention. Victor Viper Langston, a former military contractor with ties to foreign arms dealers, is now known as the supposed insurance adjuster from earlier that day. She claims, after reviewing Langston's paperwork, that this is more serious than we anticipated. Not only is he a customer, but he is also the one who supports their entire organization. Gets the idea? Nodding, Griff acknowledges. They get protection and the muscle work done by a local gang. Shipment of military-grade weaponry is flawless. Disruption to their conversation comes from a ruckus emanating from the main dock. Jack and 2 other motorcyclists have arrived in a boat, and one of Tom's employees is arguing with them. I was simply reviewing our Thursday slip when I heard Jack's voice reverberating across the lake, laden with the weight of his own deceit, having paid his dues all week long. Samantha uses her binoculars to observe the conversation. For the sake of attention, Jack is acting. The main gate, the fuel depot, the security office, and other precise locations around the marina kept slipping his mind. He's plotting his moves, getting ready to strike. According to Griff, he's overconfident. He ought to be staying low following his arrest last night. Except in cases where Samantha is rapidly making connections in her head. The weaponry won't be arriving on Thursday unless they've accelerated their schedule. Gazing through her binoculars, she can make out cargo ships lying at anchor in the distance. One boat sticks out, resting low in the water and smaller than the others. She indicates that spot. What you have there is more of an anticipation of darkness than of a berth. Griff realizes that they will arrive tonight. Making use of our evacuation as a facade. The tower stairs are being taken by Samantha in pairs, so she is already in motion. Give Matthews a call. Warn him to be prepared, but to remain out of my way until I signal. Next, arrange for Jerry's men to take their places. The strategy is being expedited. Is that so? I will grant them their wish, a final opportunity to withdraw their support. Her steps are deliberate as she confidently crosses the dock to Jack's boat. As frightened bystanders, marina employees disperse. A grin spreads across Jack's face as he watches her approach. If the hero isn't there, he makes a loud noise. Would you like to formally relinquish your marina? This is Samantha's final warning, and her voice echoes across the lake. It is time to go, move your enterprise somewhere. Bloodshed is unnecessary. The associates of Jack join in his laughter. And my darling, this is only the start. Nothing except terrible memories will remain of this spot when morning comes. On one point, Samantha agrees with you. When the sun rises, all of that changes. With a swift motion, she departs. The subtle tenseness in Jack's shoulders, the way his hand wanders to his hidden weapon, these are all telltale signs. Despite his confidence, he's anxious. Very well. Her group reconvenes in the security office to make last-ditch preparations. The sun is low in the sky, casting a reddish hue across the landscape. Under a night sky crimson, Jerry murmurs the rhyme of the old sailor. Samantha concludes with a sailor's joy. However, the upcoming night will not be enjoyable in the least. On all sides of her, she sees resolute expressions. Griff's level-headed professionalism, Jerry's grizzled determination, and Tom's anxious bravery. Their level of preparedness is unmatched. They believe they're hunting us, she reminds them. But tonight, it's our turn to hunt. As night falls over the harbor, the first stars emerge. The Fangs will arrive in a few hours, hoping to seize a territory that has been capitulated. On the contrary, a trap that has been carefully plotted by SEALs over the course of 3 years will await them. They are welcome. Quiet seas are enveloped in darkness. Marina has descended like a heavy curtain, and the docks are now hauntingly quiet but for the faint sound of waves lapping against the shore and the distant jingle of buoy bells. With their pools of yellow light and thick shadows produced between them, security lights are ideal for hiding on either side. As Samantha double-checks her places one last time, she glides deftly through the shadows. Her squad is dispersed around the marina, concealed but prepared. Their regular breathing and the rare murmured affirmation of movement detected are audible to her through her earpiece. The sound of Jerry's voice pierces the still, murky water as the boat draws near from the south. Samantha, positioned close to the main office, observes the ship as it comes into view. A streamlined speedboat, it skims the surface with little resistance. On deck, 2 people squat down, scanning the docks with night vision. Subtly, she communicates with her initial reconnaissance squad. Keep your bets. The boat goes around the entire marina before coming to a stop at the farthest pier. With a concealed weapon protruding from a shoulder holster, one individual steps onto the pier as the other stays on board. Griff verifies, from where he is hiding, that Venom. He's looking over the surveillance footage. Venom carefully analyzes all possible angles and blind spots as it advances. Samantha cracks a grimace to herself. Assume for him that the cameras are not working. They have installed a covert backup system that records everything. Half an hour elapses. The boat, which Venom has returned aboard, vanishes into thin air, just as silently as it had come. Part 1 is finished. There are a number of cars coming. From his vantage point as a watcher, Tom reports. 2 SUVs and a minimum of 4 motorcycles is required. Samantha replies exactly when it's supposed to. Remember, we let them commit completely before setting the trap. They must think they are in charge. At the marina entrance, the rumble of the motorbikes suddenly stops, after which it increases in volume. Hidden in the shadows, they advance with the precision of a military formation. Not your average gangsters. They're skilled operators, maybe mercenaries or former members of the armed forces. Samantha, using her night vision monocular, discerns a total of 12 armed individuals, among them are Venom and Jack. In addition to tactical equipment, they have small submachine guns. Firepower that is far greater than what a small gang would require. Victor Langston climbs out of the last car, clad in black combat gear that hardly masks his affluent tastes. He looks across the harbor like a general assessing a battleground. Where am I now? In the stillness of the night, his refined voice resounds. Venom reports that the cameras are disabled. Thermal imaging shows no change. Everything here is empty. Very well. Langston looks at the time. In 20 minutes, your shipment will arrive. This spot needs to be locked down before that happens. Tonight, we're doing more than simply conveying a message. A problem is being eliminated. Jack shoots a dark smile. It is my joy. The 3-man strike team disperses and heads toward the docks. Their clearing of buildings is meticulous. The workplace, the garage for repairs, and the gas station. Highly competent. Thorough. Unaware that anyone is observing them. Just like we predicted, they're heading in the same direction. Under his breath, Griff speaks. Taking up place immediately. Samantha examines her own wristwatch. The time must be just right. A premature intervention will only prompt them to change. When it's too late, lives could be lost. A burst of light emanating from the port. Just 3 blinks. The cargo vessel has taken position. Stand by, every unit. With a deep breath, Samantha finds her inner peace. Give me a signal. Once the strike squad completes their sweep, they will all converge on the main pier. A content nod indicates that Langston has received their all clear. A radio is brought to his lips by him. Enter with her. A rumble is heard when the cargo ship's engines kick in. With the running lights still off, it starts its journey toward the deep water berth of the marina. This is the chance for them to finally let their guard down. In the stillness of night, a desperate snare cracks. Changes in the gas station warehouse. A person darts from one shadow to another. Jerry was spot on as always. He successfully splits the strike squad in 2 as intended, and the distraction sends half of them running in his way. Discover them. It is Langston's order. Absence of eyewitnesses. The team spread out even farther as they move to chase. You are almost in the trap. Lastly, Samantha presses the key on her radio. Never forget that these folks are homicidal experts. Stay away from dangers that aren't essential. Here I am. The freighter is getting close to docking. The search is receiving the undivided attention of the strike teams. The equilibrium is impeccable. There was a burst of activity. A fisherman who is hidden moves slightly to change his position. Glistening metal under the surveillance lights. Venom makes contact and yells. Everything is prearranged. Anarchy breaks out in the night. Nevertheless, Samantha's group is prepared. They've been prepared the whole time. At Peaceful Waters Marina, the real fight is about to start. A battle zone erupts in the marina. As the strike squad begins to fire, muzzle flashes flicker through the darkness. The waves reverberated with their gunfire. However, Samantha's side is already on the move, carrying out their strategy. Navy SEAL missions have been fine-tuned over months. A command from Samantha echoes through the communications. The assailants have been using night vision, but Jerry flips the master switch and the concealed lights go off, momentarily blinding them. At the same time, the evacuee boats re-emerge as strongholds, trapping the strike team in deadly gunfire. Sneak attack. While ducking behind a fuel tank, Jack lets out a growl. Every side has them. In an instant, Langston assumes command, demonstrating his professional training. Return to supporting roles. Rein in the points of choking. This, however, Samantha was expecting. In the midst of the shooting, Griff lets out a harsh mechanical groan to activate their alteration. The strike team's intended escape routes were blocked off by reinforced barriers that rose from beneath the docks. You have no plans to leave here. Samantha points from her lofty vantage point and mutters something. When Venom sees her, he fires, and she ducks behind a ventilation device for cover. Even though bullets are bouncing off the metal around her, she manages to quickly change positions by rolling. He is sent flying as her return shot hits him square in the tactical vest. Below, on various fronts, the conflict is raging. With controlled fire, the fishermen, many of whom are veterans, hold their places. Tom's dock workers harm the assailants into prearranged murder zones by using their expertise of the marina's layout. Oh, the ship. Langston raises his voice above the din. Reach the ship. Out of hiding, 3 assailants dash toward the cargo ship. This is what Griff has been hoping for all along. With a show. Gun blazing in the dark, the ex-deputy emerges from behind a stack of crates. Two of them go down instantly, while the third frantically runs to take cover. The keys to Samantha's radio are pressed vertically. "Hello, Matthews." As the cargo ship tries to make a getaway, the police boats emerge from cover, their blue lights illuminating the ocean. Upon becoming aware of the situation, the skipper of the yacht promptly cuts the engines and raises his hands. "Langston, it's over," Samantha exclaims. "We have confiscated your package and sealed off all of your escape routes. Embrace the moment of surrender." Her response is a rapid discharge of auto-fire. As she ducks, she feels the pain of concrete chips on her face. "This is going to end, right?" A menacing edge accompanies Langston's voice. "You are completely unprepared for this. The folks I'm employed by refuses to assist you in any way." Samantha concludes. "Following this setback, I intend not to." In a last-ditch effort to reach the marina gate, Jack orders more gunfire to break out. Unfortunately, Jerry's crew has also rigged that path. As soon as the flashbang grenades go off, you'll hear the familiar sound of bodies crashing onto the deck. "Sir," Venom cries out as blood spurts from his undergarment. "They're encircling us." Langston responds with an emotionless, methodical air. Out of his tactical vest, he retrieves an item. An explosive device. "This marina is mine, otherwise I'll snarl at him." Nobody is going to. The gas station is set to explode. This entire place rises with a single press. Samantha's thoughts scatter. It would be dangerous to fire a direct shot at the detonator. There is, however, an alternate approach. Then she turns on her radio. "Hey Tom, it's protocol echo time." A rumble of pumps is heard beneath the docks. This is the precise situation for which the fuel depot's emergency drainage system is activated. Langston's bombs are still there. Their blast radius is limited, though, because they lack the fuel to be amplified. No, Langston is fully aware of what's going on. Quit them. However, his men are encircled and trapped down, and their professional discipline is deteriorating as a result of the disastrous operation. They give in a little bit at a time. Jack charges Samantha's position with a battle knife in a last, desperate effort. She charges at him. Strikes and counters flew between them as they clashed. You can't call this a brawl. Fighting a train in close quarters is what this is all about. The leader of the motorcyclists had no chance. Samantha brutally disarms him by directing his momentum into the deck, where he falls face first. As she chokes him into submission, the blade darts into the night. "Sit down," she says. "I've completed it." Langston decides what to do after watching his army reduced to ashes. The detonator is lifted by him. Before he starts, "If I'm going down," he says. Someone fires off a shot. The detonator goes boom when the bullet from the knife hits its target. There are a lot of police officers on the pier, and Langston is staring in shock as he holds his wounded hand. With his sidearm holstered, Lieutenant Matthews approaches. "You are being arrested, Victor Langston." "I dare say that, considering what's on board that ship, that's the least of your concerns. The struggle for peaceful seas. Goodbye, Marina." While Samantha witnesses the escort of the captives, she realizes that their triumph has unveiled a greater truth. A web of bribery and arms smuggling that extends well beyond their tranquil harbor. While one chapter may be coming to a close, a new one is about to start. A newly revealed marina greets the break of day. The cargo ship is surrounded by police evidence teams who are recording containers of weapons of military grade. Due to Samantha's meticulous preparation, ambulances attend to the injured, the majority of whom are Viper members. Crime scene tape, a bright yellow color, wafts in the early morning wind. Matthews comes over with 2 cups of coffee while Samantha dangles over the water from the main dock. His report is the final tally, and he hands her a cup. A small war's worth of ammunition, along with 38 assault rifles, 15 sniper systems, dozens of battle shotguns, and all of them are military spec. Samantha watches as divers retrieve guns that were tossed overboard during the battle and muses that someone was being armed. We need to know who. Langston remains silent. Next to her, Matthews takes a seat. However, let's not get into that. The CIA is taking part already. It would appear that our armaments dealer is involved in some intriguing international circles. Samantha feels her fighting instincts arouse at the mere mention of intelligence agencies. Things might get tricky quickly. With the long night now behind him, Griff approaches, his shotgun holstered. Message received from the medical facility. We have no significant injuries and all of our people are stable. The Fangs, though, are a different story. Samantha says they made a decision, but her voice betrays her lack of contentment. There is always a cost to violence, even when it is justifiable. They become captivated by the sound of motorbikes. However, these are not Fangs. As word of what happened last night spreads, local riders are starting to show up. Some of them are bringing breakfast and coffee to the officers and dock workers, and they park politely at the entrance to the marina. Griff watches with a little grin as communities unite. Tom rushes over, appearing weary but resolute. The boards convened a meeting of the unexpected. A formal contract, the position of head of marina security, and the power to make any necessary adjustments are all things they hope to provide you. Updates aside, Matthews mentions that the district attorney is aiming for maximum charges. Jack and his team won't see the light of day for decades due to the firearms, attempted murder, and conspiracy counts. As the cargo ship is escorted away, Samantha observes a Coast Guard cutter. Langston, too. He is being pursued by multiple agencies. He has connections at the highest levels. International trade, political contracts, and military contracts. Something significant may be revealed by this. Samantha notices motion close to the police line. A big box of dumplings that Mrs. Chen cooked herself has arrived, accompanied by her grandchildren, for the benefit of the employees. As more regulars from the marina show up with food and supplies, the crime scene becomes a makeshift community center. With his fishing gear in its rightful place, Jerry rejoins them at the edge of the dock. He remarks with some consideration that, upon your hiring, several people questioned whether a Navy SEAL could successfully transition to civilian life. I suppose you taught them. I also showed myself. Samantha takes a slow drink of her coffee, thinking. Recovered a valuable artifact. Griff steps in to talk about protection. Improving security should be a topic we cover. Following this, imitators may gain inspiration. Taken care of. Samantha shows them the initial plans on her phone. Improved entry control, new video systems, and community watch initiatives in place. Last night, we constructed our best defense. Individuals uniting in solidarity. Their focus is captured by a disturbance at the entrance. As he is escorted to a transport van while handcuffed, Venom looks directly at Samantha. However, his expression is one of respect rather than animosity. Matthews cautions that they will certainly try again. At least one person, if not all of the Fangs. Such locations are enticing prey. Allow them to attempt. Now more than ever, Samantha stands and surveys her marina, which is more than just a job, it is a community that she is sworn to defend. Our readiness is guaranteed. Tom swings by armed with a load of paperwork, including cleaning estimates, repair quotes, and insurance paperwork. Samantha feels the night's triumph was worthwhile as she sees families heading back to their boats and fishermen getting ready for the day's job. The same old thing. Hopefully, Jerry asks. Exceeds expectations. He is corrected by Samantha. We have discovered our capabilities. As it rises higher in the morning, the sun annihilates the final remnants of night. Repairs need to be made, security needs to be upgraded, and a community needs to be rebuilt stronger than before. Samantha doesn't need to worry about a thing because she can see the resolve in the faces of those around her. The Fang's plan was to use violence and terror to seize control of this area. On the contrary, they unwittingly produced a formidable force. A unified group of people, prepared to protect their homeland. Now the next danger can arrive. Peaceful lakes. A marina is now more than simply a group of docks and boats. They're a family. More than that, a naval SEAL is keeping tabs on this household. A week following the conflict, Tranquil Waters Marina is buzzing with new life. As they install new security mechanisms, workers fix bullet damage. The marina has gone from being a plain port to a symbol of defiance against corruption as a result of the community's reaction to the attack. Standing in her recently enlarged security office, Samantha examines an intelligence wall. A picture of Langston's operation is slowly taking shape thanks to photos, records, and connecting maps. A troubling pattern emerges when red strings are used to connect weapons shipments to crises around the world. Bringing a huge folder with him, Griff reveals the latest news from the FBI. Langston appears to be more frightened of his bosses than he is of jail, as he is singing like a canary. Not sure I blame him. A new photo of an enigmatic figure during an Eastern European weapons show is affixed to the wall by Samantha. They have a hard time letting go of setbacks. Entering with a concerned expression, Matthews finds the door open once more. I have something important to show you. He scatters photographs of crime scenes across Samantha's desk. This last night, 3 Viper hangouts were struck. Working life, no one has made it. Samantha looks at the picture strategically. Operation to clean up. Tightening up loose ends. Expect them to visit this place next. Griff inquires, his hand inadvertently reaching for his concealed carry weapon. Samantha eventually adopts a more level, serious tone in her speech. We revealed their pipeline and cost them millions in weaponry. They will seek retribution. Matthews also mentions that you've seen their faces now. Gain familiarity with their techniques. I interrupt them with a knock at the door. Tom, Jerry, and a number of other marina locals make their way inside. Since the attack, an unofficial communal council has been formed. Apologies for interrupting, Tom starts. Yet, we have been conversing. We wanted to lend a hand after what transpired. Quite useful. Not just watch from the sidelines. Jerry gives a silent assent. A large portion of our group has a history in the armed forces or the police. I think it's about time we started using those abilities. Samantha looks intently at their resolute expressions. These people are no longer scared bystanders. They are brave people who are prepared to protect their homeland. According to her, it will be difficult. This is the situation we are in. What a bunch of risky individuals. Even more perilous than last week's challenge. Jerry issues a challenge. Then we were able to hold our own. Sure, we can try it again. Griff looks pleased. The man is correct. Samantha approaches a massive marina design hanging on the wall. All right. This is something we do well when we're doing it. Community defense plan in its entirety. Protocols for training, communication, and response. As she starts to describe her plan, everyone turns to listen. However, their preparations are thwarted by an external disturbance. Exhausted, Mrs. Chen storms in. Different riders are on their way. Into the window they dash. Nearing the marina, a phalanx of motorbikes draws near. However, these are not fangs. Both sexes are represented among the cyclists. They keep their bikes in good condition. Their troops are polite. According to Matthews, the club is local. What transpired here has been observed by them. It seems like the Fang's antics have worn on more than just us. The riders line up in a neat formation as they park. A military-looking woman with gray hair reaches the office, where they are being led. Samantha Martinez, the captain.
Disclaimer. This channel stands against all forms of intolerance, discrimination, racism, and violations of human rights. The stories shared here are original creations, developed to encourage reflection, understanding, and constructive dialogue. All content is produced with a commitment to respecting diversity and honoring human dignity.